Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Soul Land 2 Peerless Tang Men based on novel. So let's start. An avenging spirit flew in front of Yi Gai. If she were an ordinary soul emperor, she would have to be very cautious when facing an evil soul master. If she wasn't cautious enough, her spiritual sea might be affected. However, against Yi Gai, she only shone with golden light before the avenging spirit screamed tragically and vanished. The power of purification even caused the avenging spirit to be sucked into Yi Gai's body to replenish her and increase her cultivation. As a result, Yi Gai's fighting strength was fully unleashed as she fought under the Ice Bear King's protection. She was the nightmare of every evil soul master. Huo Yuhao had risked everything to save her before because she could naturally curb evil soul masters. As Yi Gai's abilities increased, her deterrence against evil soul masters grew stronger, too. Yi Gai was already close to becoming a soul sage. After this fight, she was confident that she could make a breakthrough to become a soul sage. When that happened, her holy angel would have 4 wings, and her overall abilities would greatly increase. She wouldn't be afraid even against an evil soul Doluo. Nan Qiuqiu followed beside Yi Gai, coordinating with her. Yi Gai's holy angel was the most effective against evil soul masters, while Nan Qiuqiu was using her ruby dragon's annihilation abilities to protect her, enabling Yi Gai's offensive power to be unleashed to the limit. It wasn't just Nan Qiuqiu. Xiao Xiao was also protecting Yi Gai. Her 3-live Soul Crush Cauldron was used as a control-type martial soul to isolate Yi Gai from their enemies. This prevented too many enemies from appearing directly in front of her, allowing Yi Gai to better unleash her abilities. Apart from the 3 of them, everyone else also demonstrated their powers. Jiang Nanan's abilities had greatly increased ever since she had fused with the ruby soft tendon python spirit. Right now, a python over 3 meters long ran riot on the battlefield. The strangest part of it was that it possessed the abilities that Jiang Nanan had. Just this alone was enough to make it as strong as Shusanshi's golden tortoise. Jiang Nanan had already transformed into her martial soul true body at this moment, but it wasn't her softbone rabbit. Rather, she had fused her true body into her ruby soft tendon python, increasing her spirit's abilities greatly. She relied on the size of her python to disrupt proceedings on the battlefield, and the evil soul masters were unable to gather. Xiao Ya. Bei Bei shouted at Tang Ya, who had already raised her blue-silver tyrant spear. Tang Ya's body shook. She was already hesitating a little. When she heard Bei Bei's call, her actions slowed even further. Bei Bei removed his Dragon Emperor's realm quake, and slowly walked towards Tang Ya. With every step he took, his body dimmed slightly. After 3 steps, his dragon scales had completely disappeared, and his martial soul had even been retracted. He revealed his true appearance. Xiao Ya, I'm Bei Bei. Do you remember me? Bei Bei walked towards Tang Ya. Shusansha held his golden Xuanwu shield tightly, and suddenly swept his hand across his body. His shield flew out and struck a few evil soul emperors that were charging over. He was worried about Bei Bei. However, he couldn't stop him at this moment. From that earlier moment, he had already seen the determined look in Bei Bei's eyes. Even though he was very close to Bei Bei, it was his first time seeing such a look in his eyes. He knew that Bei Bei had already made up his mind. No matter what, he had to try. As a brother, he couldn't stop him. If he were in such a situation with Jiang Nanan, he would also do the same thing. Bei Bei, come on. Shusansha shouted silently, and focused his gaze on Tang Ya. Once something went wrong, he would dash in to save Bei Bei immediately. Tang Ya was a little dazed as she stood there. There was still a large bunch of dark blue-silver grass dancing around her feet. However, they didn't attack. The sharp blue-silver tyrant spear flashed with a dark blue light. Its dominant aura made it felt like it could pierce through the sky. However, she didn't thrust it toward Bei Bei. Bei Bei was still walking toward her. His gaze became even gentler, and there wasn't even a streak of soul power undulations coming from him. Xiao Ya, I won't do anything to you. How can I possibly hurt you? You are my Xiao Ya, and you'll always be. If you want to attack, then kill me. I'm willing even if my blood stains your body. Don't come over. Tang Ya suddenly shouted. This was also her first time speaking on this battlefield. Her voice was no longer as cold and indifferent as it was before. Rather, she sounded a little afraid and panicky. After hearing her speak, Shusansha heaved a sigh of relief. Tang Ya's emotions were roused after seeing Bei Bei. This meant that he was still in her memory. Bei Bei didn't listen to Tang Ya, and continued to walk forward. He wasn't very far from Tang Ya to begin with, and now, he was almost in front of her. Don't come over. Tang Ya's voice turned a little sharper. Her icy-cold eyes were filled with indecision. Xiao Ya. I'm Bei Bei. Bei Bei continued to walk forward. He was calling Tang Ya's name as if he were calling his own wife. Finally, he was in front of her. She didn't move her spear. It was even shaking in her grip. Bei Bei was now right in front of the spear, but he didn't stop. He walked directly into the spear, and the tip of the spear pierced his shoulder. There was a trace of red on the tip of the spear, which spread along the dark patterns on it. As Tang Ya's cultivation increased, the spear was able to absorb blood. As it absorbed blood, it also fused the dark poison elements inside it into the enemy's blood. Bei Bei turned pale, but his gaze was still as gentle as ever. Xiao Ya, I'm Bei Bei. Seeing that the tip of her spear had pierced Bei Bei's shoulder, Tang Ya was stunned, and just looked at him in a daze. It was like she was looking at some unbelievable thing. Bei Bei moved another inch forward. Immediately, the spear pierced deeper into him. From the start until the end, Bei Bei didn't reveal a painful look on his face. There was only a gentle look throughout. Xiao Ya, I'm Bei Bei, Bei Bei continued to call softly. Ah! Tang Ya started to shout frantically, and furiously let go of the spear in her hand. Without her soul power, her spear immediately dissipated, and turned into streaks of dark blue light that disappeared into the air. The blue-silver grass around Tang Ya also instantly disappeared. Her face was very pale, and her body started to shake tremendously. Her hands were on her head. My head hurts. It hurts so much. Bei Bei resisted the pain in his shoulder and rushed forward, hugging Tang Ya. Even though Tang Ya's body was icy-cold right now, and was filled with an intense aura of darkness, when Bei Bei hugged her, tears flowed from her eyes uncontrollably. How many years had it been? Ever since Tang Ya went missing, it had been many years. He was finally able to hold her in his arms again. Xiao Ya, you don't know how blissful I feel right now. No matter what price I have to pay, I'll treat you. Seeing that Bei Bei had succeeded, Shusansha was delighted. He charged towards Bei Bei and whispered, all right, let's go quickly, so that we can ask little Junior to leave. Bei Bei twisted to look at him and nodded quickly. After that, he carried Tang Ya away, and fled towards the masquerade Doluo's tent. The door to the spectral demiplane was already open. The command tent of the Sun Moon Empire. As the imperial tutor and leader of the Holy Ghost Church, Zhongli Wu sat in the main seat. Even Lin Hai was only sitting by his side. A large number of orders had already been passed down. The entire base was busy with this fight. Zhongli Wu was very grim. Apart from Lin Hai, there were also many other commanders from the Sun Moon Empire inside the tent. As Zhongli Wu and the 6 consecrated from the Holy Ghost Church's worship hall were inside the tent, they were all afraid. Why is no one reporting after so long? What's with your soldiers? Zhongli Wu asked Lin Hai. Lin Hai furrowed his brow and said, this shouldn't be happening. It's been some time. The messengers should be constantly reporting information. After a series of orders were passed down earlier, the command tent had quieted down. They had been waiting for some time already, but no further messengers had arrived. How was the fight continuing on without any commands? Oh? Zhongli Wu's expression suddenly changed. He stood up immediately. Things aren't right. Why is it so quiet? Even if the command tent can isolate noise quite well, there should be some movement outside. Let's go out and take a look. As he spoke, he headed out. Of course, no messengers came. This was because the masquerade Doluo was outside. After setting up the spiritual barrier, Huo Yuhao had already stopped 3 waves of messengers. With the spiritual barrier isolating all noises from outside, those 3 waves of messengers were tricked into a dark corner beside the command tent through Huo Yuhao's spiritual interference domain. They were also unconscious. The curtains of the tent were pulled open, and Zhongli Wu was the first to walk out. Seeing that Zhongli Wu had come out, Huo Yuhao was alarmed. Things hadn't finished on the other side, not everyone had retreated yet. Huo Yuhao knew that they were fighting for time right now. Every second would make his teammates safer. Bei Bei had just picked up Xiao Ya, and was about to retreat towards his tent. Huo Yuhao's spiritual detection engulfed the entire battlefield. He knew everything that was happening. Time. Huo Yuhao suddenly thought of something, and quickly rushed forward 2 steps. He screamed in panic, "Sect leader, things aren't going well. We've been ambushed by people from Shrek Academy." Although he was screaming, he was blocking Zhongli Wu's path. What? After walking out of the tent, Zhongli Wu immediately sensed something amiss. What's with that weird soul power undulation in the air? Why did I not sense anything earlier? However, he couldn't be bothered with that at this moment. He hurriedly shouted, "All consecrated, follow me to deal with the enemy." However, a strong blizzard suddenly raged in at that moment. Under Huo Yuhao's command, the Ice Bear King had been suppressing his abilities all this while, and didn't unleash his blizzard at its full strength. But now, the area covered by the blizzard instantly expanded. Visibility was greatly reduced, preventing the sect leader and the consecrated of the Holy Ghost Church from seeing clearly. All sensing through soul power was reduced to its weakest, because of this extremely powerful domain-type soul skill. Zhongli Wu shouted furiously and smacked his right hand forward. A ball of strong purple light was released from his palm. This purple light spread through the air, turning into dark purple balls. Wherever these balls passed, the snowflakes in the air would melt and disappear. He couldn't be bothered with the blizzard at all, and charged directly towards the battlefield. He was very confident in his abilities as a titled Doluo. On the other side, everyone from Shrek Academy also quickly fled, as they saw Bei Bei carrying Xiao Ya away. Elder Song smacked her palm toward the 3rd elder, critically hurting him, spitting out blood in the process. However, she couldn't be bothered to deal him a final, lethal blow before she turned into a streak of jade-green light that immediately flashed away, shooting straight towards Zhongli Wu. If no one stopped the oncoming Holy Ghost Church members, they wouldn't be able to flee. Yang Xiaozhe's 6th soul ring rose. The reason why he and Elder Song couldn't kill the 3rd and 4th elders quickly was because they were suppressing their power. They couldn't risk generating strong soul power undulations that Zhongli Wu might discover. Huo Yuhao was able to isolate noise and soul power undulations, but the truth would still be exposed if the tremors in the ground were too strong. But at this moment, there was nothing for them to hide anymore. Yang Xiaozhe unleashed his full powers. A bright golden phoenix fluttered its wings and collided with the 4th elder. At the same time, it flew straight towards the oncoming evil soul masters, and forced the evil soul masters pestering the people from the Tang sect back. They naturally took this opportunity to charge straight back to Huo Yuhao's tent. Yang Xiaozhe followed Elder Song closely. After he fused into the back of the golden phoenix, he unleashed his martial soul true body. His 9th soul ring also shone. A sonorous and deafening phoenix scream rose. Yang Xiaozhe's phoenix true body grew incredibly in size, his wings extending more than 100 meters across. Strong phoenix flames rose before they shot towards the ground. Every one of these flames was shaped like a phoenix. The strong aura of light even caused Little Bai's blizzard to dissipate temporarily. The originally dark sky brightened up at this moment. A bright golden fire was burning, and the radiant phoenix in the sky was shining with an elegant radiance. This was Yang Xiaozhe's ninth soul skill, Phoenix Descent. It was his strongest soul skill. At this instant, he seemed to have completely transformed into a true god-beast phoenix. The strong light element suppressed Zhongli Wu and the six consecrated, stalling them slightly, just long enough for the flames to engulf them. Zhongli Wu and the others had charged out anxiously when they realized the pressing situation on the battlefield, whereas Yang Xiaozhe was warned by Huo Yuhao. He was already prepared, and didn't hesitate to unleash his strongest soul skill. Elder Song also shone with green light. She had turned into her green shadow, godly eagle, before Yang Xiaozhe had transformed. When the Phoenix Descent was unleashed, the godly eagle instantly flashed in the air. At that instant, even Huo Yuhao only saw a green light flashing by, followed by the appearance of a jade green light. Right now, the green shadow godly eagle was no longer like a martial soul anymore. It was more like an artistic piece that had been carved from jade. The speed of the eagle reached its extreme as she reached Zhongli Wu. Zhongli Wu didn't have time to unleash his martial soul true body. As he had no choice, he could only defend with all his might. Under such a circumstance, Elder Song's abilities were unleashed to their greatest. Along with the fact that the evil soul masters had to resist the flames from the phoenix true body, all 7 of them were flung away, as they were struck by Elder Song. It was Elder Song's ninth soul skill, Emerald Refinement. Zhongli Wu's cultivation was close to Elder Song's, but he was an evil soul master. If they were in a duel, Elder Song could only use her speed to fight him. She might not be his match. However, given the current situation, Zhongli Wu was still flung away, even though he wasn't hurt. Huo Yuhao let out a tragic scream within the flames before he disappeared. After all, the flames came from a transcendent Doluo. Its terrifying power could kill an ordinary title Doluo. Everyone from the Tang sect took this opportunity to rush into Huo Yuhao's tent. They concealed themselves within the blizzard and made their way into Huo Yuhao's spectral demiplane. A white halo was suddenly released from the flames, mass enfeeblement. The surrounding space distorted from his spiritual interference domain. Zhongli Wu wanted to fly back, but he suddenly felt a wave of strong spiritual power striking him. He groaned in the air and his body shone with purple light. However, his body only shook and he stopped. Yuhao, leave. Yang Xiaozhe ordered. Huo Yuhao knew that he was helpless in a fight of this tier. He had hit Zhongli Wu with his strongest spiritual shock, but only felt a spiritual backlash. He didn't dare to stop and quickly fled. At the same time, he said to Nangong Wan, who was playing dead, the restrictions in your spiritual sea will disappear after 3 days. You don't have to do anything. Nangong Wan was playing dead after he was knocked away. To make it even more real, he even intentionally hurt himself, breaking a few of his bones. After hearing Huo Yuhao's words, he couldn't do anything but believe. If he tried to probe further, he might expose himself. Huo Yuhao called the Ice Bear King and quickly retreated into his tent. A beam of jade green light shone behind them. They only felt that they became lighter before they rushed into the tent. Quickly, go. Elder Song's voice came to them. Huo Yuhao said, no, Elder Song. Leave with Little Bai first. I'll wait for Dean Yang. I need to shut this door myself. If I leave, it could be exposed. Elder Song said, don't worry. You don't have to care about him. Xiaozhe has a way of escaping. Let's leave first, quick. What? Huo Yuhao was doubtful, but he couldn't suspect Elder Song's words. He didn't dare to stall any further, and quickly entered the door with Little Bai. Elder Song followed them. After entering the demiplane, Elder Song immediately said to Huo Yuhao, shut the door. Dean Yang. Huo Yuhao was shocked as he looked at Elder Song. Are we not waiting for Dean Yang? Elder Song smiled and replied, don't worry, Xiaozhe really has a way of escaping. Do you really think it's so easy being the dean of the martial soul department? He shares the same teacher as you. If he's not capable enough, how could he become the heir to the master of the Sea God's Pavilion? Huo Yuhao quickly shut the door. As the door shut, the entire demiplane was dissociated from the Doluo continent. At this moment, the evil soul masters couldn't find them no matter how strong they were. Of course, if Huo Yuhao and the others wanted to return, they would still need to return to the base. However, it would only be him then. It would be much easier for him to flee in those circumstances. He didn't need to rush things now. It was better for things to settle down first. In the plan that Huo Yuhao had set, Yang Shaozhe had volunteered to cover any retreat. Huo Yuhao naturally knew how strong he was. Such an arrangement was naturally appropriate. However, things didn't proceed as smoothly as planned. After the explosion, the Holy Ghost Church's sect leader didn't send anyone to check on things. This was a surprise to Huo Yuhao. He had underestimated how selfish evil soul masters were. The command tent was too close to the battlefield. The sect leader had still managed to discover an issue. It would be too dangerous for him to cover any retreat. Even if he wanted to, he didn't possess the ability to do so. He was even afraid that Nangong Wan would expose his disguise as the masquerade Doluo. However, it would be fine if everyone could retreat safely. However, who knew that Yang Shaozhe wouldn't choose to leave? The plan was almost perfect. The only flaw was that Yang Shaozhe didn't leave with them. Right now, Huo Yuhao figured that Din Yang must have some kind of trump card, as he saw the smile on Elder Song's face. The blizzard disappeared, but the phoenix flames were still raging. The entire sky was illuminated by golden light. The Sun Moon Empire's flying soul engineers were quickly assembling in this direction. This was where the command tent was, at the core of the entire base. If things went wrong here, there would be great trouble. Yang Shaozhe's phoenix descent greatly suppressed Zhongli Wu and the six consecrated, and they weren't able to break free from his flames. Not only did these phoenix flames contain a pure aura of life, but they were also burning like flames of ultimate fire. To be caught within these phoenix flames was like being dragged into a quagmire. Although the evil soul masters were very strong, and there were even a few transcendent Doluo among them, they could only passively defend as they were suppressed by the flames. Yang Shaozhe controlled the flames immaculately, and didn't care how fast he was being drained. Whichever evil soul master tried to charge over was immediately struck by the flames he was controlling. Yang Shaozhe, you're courting death. Zhongli Wu snorted coldly. He wasn't anxious anymore. His body flashed with purple light, and he allowed the flames to attack him. He stood there without moving. Yang Shaozhe's overwhelming attack was aimed at a large area. Even if he were a transcendent Doluo, he would be greatly drained, yet he ignored all costs. Under such circumstances, he wouldn't be able to last long. Once he couldn't hold on anymore, he would be doomed. There were so many evil soul masters. Was it even possible they could not deal with a transcendent Doluo in a weakened state? The masquerade Doluo had disappeared within the flames. Zhongli Wu personally witnessed it. He felt extremely sorry. Every titled Doluo was an important asset to the Holy Ghost Church, even though the masquerade Doluo's cultivation was likely to remain stagnant. Furthermore, he didn't know how many losses his side had incurred. How were the second, third, and fourth elders? Don't tell me they are dead too. Impossible. From that earlier aura, there seemed to only be 3 transcendent Doluo from Shrek Academy. How could they kill 4 of our titled Doluo, although there's only 3 of them? They even did it so quickly. Zhongli Wu had already calmed down as he basked in the flames. However, he couldn't understand why Shrek Academy would suddenly attack. Such a short ambush can't possibly cause any damage. How did they get in? They just attacked us, and now they're leaving. They even got the Radiant Phoenix Doluo Yang Shaozhe to cover their retreat. This is unbelievable. If they are trading the Masquerade Doluo for the Radiant Phoenix Doluo, it's definitely not worth it. The Radiant Phoenix Doluo is the heir to the Master of the Sea Gods Pavilion. If not for the fact that Elder Mu died too early, Elder Xian wouldn't have become the master at all. Yang Shaozhe would have been the next master of the Sea Gods Pavilion. After pondering for a moment, Zhongli Wu finally had a clue. No matter what was happening, he had to do his best to kill Yang Shaozhe. As long as Yang Xiaozhi died, the losses they had suffered this time would be worth it. The flames grew weaker and weaker. Just like Zhongli Wu had judged, even a transcendent Doluo couldn't last long maintaining such a strong attack. Yang Xiaozhi. A cold and sinister voice rang across the sky. Even the flames retracted slightly as they were suppressed. Before the flames were completely extinguished, Zhongli Wu snorted, and his back started to shine with purple light. He turned into an elderly, purplish figure, which pointed in Yang Xiaozhi's direction. Zhongli Wu's eighth soul ring flashed with light. A streak of purplish light, as thin as a needle, instantly swept across the sky. Wherever that streak of purplish light passed, even the flames were instantly pierced. Yang Xiaozhi groaned in the air. Zhongli Wu flashed away, and he finally broke free from the flames, which were also extinguished at this moment. Yang Xiaozhi regained his human form and landed on the ground, staggering a little. There was a ball of purplish flame burning on his chest. He struggled to support himself. The 6 consecrated had already quickly surrounded him. 2 were in the sky and 4 were on the ground, trapping him. Zhongli Wu was in front of him. This was a trap even a transcendent Doluo like him couldn't break free from. Yang Xiaozhi, where do you think you're escaping to? Zhongli Wu cursed coldly. Yang Xiaozhi smiled. Why should I run? Since I chose to stay, I have no intention of leaving. You've been thinking too much. Oh? Zhongli Wu was stunned. He hadn't expected Yang Xiaozhi to be so composed, even though he was encircled and had been struck by his 8th soul skill, the godly death needle. The godly death needle looked as thin as a strand of hair, but it was so strong that it could pierce through a mountain. It was specifically used to overcome all types of protective soul skills. Among all the current soul skills that Zhongli Wu knew about, none of them could resist his godly death needle. To avoid being hurt, one could only try to avoid it. However, the godly death needle could lock onto its targets, and wasn't that easy to avoid. The purplish flame on Yang Xiaozhi's chest came from the godly death needle. He was using the strength of his phoenix flames to resist the godly death needle. Zhongli Wu wasn't bothered by the fact at all. If his godly death needle was so easy to deal with, it wouldn't be fit to be his 8th soul skill. When this needle entered any biological entity, it would spark a kind of flame called the withering flame. No matter what the elemental type of a soul power was, it would be destroyed under the withering flame. It was like a soul master burning his soul power and spiritual sea. This withering flame expedited the combustion of one soul power and spiritual sea, and the soul master couldn't possibly extinguish the flame. During the process of combustion, no overwhelming fighting strength was unleashed. Instead, the soul master would slowly experience a decline. Zhongli Wu glanced around at the others from the Holy Ghost Church, and said coldly, "Do you really think you're going to get lucky?" He looked extremely grim. Not many of the people from the Holy Ghost Church could stand up. The 3rd and 4th elders appeared to be critically hurt, and struggled to crawl to their feet. Nangong Wan even acted like he couldn't get up. Worse, the blue-silver holy lady was nowhere to be seen. Zhongli Wu was now intent on exacting revenge. This last thing infuriated him like nothing else. It was important to know that the blue-silver holy lady and the phoenix holy lady were the successors that he had nurtured. The phoenix holy lady was still receiving treatment at the Holy Ghost Church's headquarters, because of the evil fire in her body. On the other hand, things were going very smoothly with the blue-silver holy lady. According to the current situation, her mind would be completely purified, and she would completely lose her sense of self. They were known as successors not because they would rule the Holy Ghost Church in the future, but because they would become some of the strongest individuals in the church. Zhongli Wu was very aware that his mother and Long Xiaoyao were already very old. It was difficult to tell how much longer they could live. How could an evil soul master sect like the Holy Ghost Church remain powerful without any ultimate Doluo? If the 2 of them died, everyone was bound to gang up on them. The Holy Ghost Church had a secret method that could stimulate a soul master's abilities, allowing their followers to grow rapidly. However, there was a negative side to this secret method. It completely corroded a person's mind, and they would believe that they were just killing machines. With such a secret method, an extremely talented soul master could be gradually improved, and could possibly become an ultimate Doluo. However, the soul master had to be introspective, his body had to be pure enough, and his martial soul had to be appropriate. Tang Yue and Ma Xiaodao were candidates that he had found suitable. Comparatively speaking, Ma Xiaodao was much more talented. After her phoenix flames fused with the evil fire, it would evolve into ultimate fire. Once she became an ultimate Doluo, she would be an ultimate fire Doluo. She would be even stronger than Yi Shishui and Long Xiaoyao. However, Ma Xiaodao wasn't very compatible with the secret method, exactly because she was too talented and her flames were too domineering. It was very difficult to corrode her mind. Although there was some effect, her mind wasn't greatly affected, even after all this time. Although Tang Yue wasn't as talented as Ma Xiaodao, she was much more compatible with the secret method. After she consumed the medicine, her mind had been completely devoured by the evil poison. Her cultivation had increased greatly. In terms of rank, she was almost at Ma Xiaotao's standard. Once Tang Yue became a title Doluo, the secret method would be completed. When that happened, only some special articles would be needed to help keep her under control. In the future, she was bound to become the Holy Ghost Church's biggest trump card. When Yi Shishui and Long Xiaoyao were no longer around, Tang Yue would be present to ensure that the Holy Ghost Church could last another 100 years without falling. Because of how important she was, Zhongli Wu had kept the Scorpion Tiger Doluo with her to protect her. However, Tang Yue had disappeared. It was important to know that the Holy Ghost Church had used a lot of resources on Tang Yue. After all, Zhongli Wu wasn't just nurturing an extremely powerful ultimate Doluo. He also had to ensure that she would enjoy great longevity after she became an ultimate Doluo. It was the only way he could maximize the benefits to the sect. Tang Yue's disappearance was even more heartbreaking than the masquerade Doluo's death. He was so furious now that he wanted to completely annihilate Shrek Academy right now. Yang Xiaozhe, where did you take the blue-silver holy lady? Zhongli Wu asked coldly. Yang Xiaozhe smiled and said, what blue-silver holy lady? I don't know who you're talking about. Zhongli Wu snorted furiously, you're already here, why are you still acting? Do you really think I won't dare to kill you? No, that would be too easy on you. I'll make you my puppet, a puppet that's a transcendent Doluo. Our soul will never reincarnate. After hearing his threats, Yang Xiaozhe was still smiling, and appeared very composed. Zhongli Wu, you think too much. Quickly, go and save those who are hurt. I won't play with you anymore. Why? As he spoke, Yang Xiaozhe suddenly burned with golden flames. Even the purple flames on his chest were devoured by these golden flames. Then, he slowly disappeared into the fires. This video will end here.